I'm lost. At the beginning of this year, overworked, mentally drained from things happening in my personal life, physically exhausted, I told myself that I would take it easy this year and I would listen to what my body was telling me. I was sick almost every other month and I decided to take a step back. But maybe it was too big of a step back. I had my shop running, I was doing Patreon, I was doing sponsorships, I was doing illustration, and it just became way too much for one girl. After getting rid of those things, recently I've just been feeling like I've been going through the motions. Wake up, do the work I need to do to pay the bills, feed myself, feed me so, go to bed, uninspired, unmotivated, just get it done and over with. Don't get me wrong, in many ways, 2024 was a really, really great year and a healing one. I'm so grateful to be in a career and a place that I am able to take a break when I need. I was able to travel, I was able to meet a lot of new friends. I worked on some really cool projects this year. I started new hobbies, I moved out on my own. I'm not saying it's been a bad year, but I neglected the backbone of my career, which is my creativity. My creative cup became that 4-month-old coffee that has been in my mini fridge studio and is growing hella mold. I turned 25 in August, and this might be my quarter life crisis. I think before I became full-time, I had a clear goal, and that goal was to quit my job and become an artist. It's all I've ever wanted. It's what I wanted since I was 5 years old. That was the dream. And now the question is, what comes after that? That's what I'm currently trying to figure out, and it's what I want this channel to explore. I've had this book, The Artist's Way. I tried doing this 6 months ago. I made it 1 week in, and 6 months ago, I just was not in the right headspace even to be doing this, so I think we're finally ready to begin again. So what is it, and why do so many artists talk about this freaking yellow and red book? All my favorite artists talk about it, so let's talk about it now. It's basically a 12-week workbook to unlock your creativity and gain the confidence you need to become an artist. Each week there's a unique set of tasks, and throughout the 12 weeks, you work through all those hard things stuck inside yourself. And I will note that there's an element of spirituality tied to this book. I myself am not religious, so I choose to ignore those parts and kind of replace it with the words, the universe. I don't know, this is such a personal experience that you could take what works for you and leave what doesn't. Everyone will have different perspectives, and that is okay. Okay, before we start, let's talk about what I want to get out of this at the end of 3 months. 1, I want to have fun with my art and creativity again. I want to feel like the world is my oyster. 2, I want to finish a picture book manuscript. It's been 2 years and I've given my agent absolutely nothing to work with. And I think I finally am confident enough in my abilities to do it this time, or I'm just gonna start and then see what happens. And 3, I want to build a healthy routine with productive habits. I think this will be the hardest challenge. Right now, I do not have a consistent schedule at all, and I am the world's worst procrastinator, and I am a huge dopamine chaser, so I will freaking just do what makes me happy in the moment, and I really need to be more strict with myself. With that, week 1 begins with a studio clean. Clean space is a clear mind. Week 1 is all about recovering a sense of safety so you could explore creativity with less fear. It's about protecting your artist child, healing old wounds, and letting go of perfectionism. A huge part of this week is identifying your negative beliefs and replacing them with affirmations, i.e., I can do this, rather than I don't think I'll be able to do this. A quick word on Squarespace. It's no secret that Squarespace has been my website hosting platform for the past 4 years. It's an all-in-one platform for artists and small business owners like us to easily create a beautiful, well-designed web page. I recently redesigned my website to give it a sleek, professional feel, and it currently houses my illustration portfolio and all the important stuff like social media links and my client contact form. You can create your own site in seconds with their ready-made templates and customize it to fit your exact needs with their design intelligence and visual design tools, which are very intuitive, by the way. Really easy to figure out. I hosted my shop on Squarespace for a few years and I really highly recommend it. So if you're ready to get started, head to squarespace.com/KatieMai to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. I wanted to discuss a point in this first week's chapter about protecting the artist child within. And I think a lot of young artists forget this. We want to be great, immediately great, but that is not how recovery works. It's an awkward, tentative, even embarrassing process. There will be many times when we won't look good to ourselves or anyone else. We need to stop demanding that we do. It is impossible to get better and look good at the same time. Remember that in order to recover as an artist, you must be willing to be a bad artist. Give yourself permission to be a beginner. By being willing to be a bad artist, you have a chance to be an artist, and perhaps over time, a very good one. And this concept reminded me a lot of this section in George Saunders' A Swim in a Pond in Rain. He's talking about one of his stories and how it's the best story that he's ever wrote. He feels like this is his masterpiece, but then realize against the greats of Hemingway, etc., that his piece was just the top of his own little shithill while all the other peaks are up there. But it is his hill with his name on it, and this is what he writes. This is a big moment for any artist, this moment of combined triumph and disappointment, when we have to decide whether to accept a work of art that we have to admit we weren't in control of as we made it, and of which we weren't entirely sure we approved. It is less than we want it to be, and yet it is more too. It's small and a bit pathetic, judged against the work of the great masters, but there it is, all ours. What we have to do at that point, I think, is go over, sheepishly but boldly, and stand on our little shit hill and hope it will grow. What will make that shit hill grow is our commitment to it, the extent to which we say, well, yes, it is a shit hill, but it's my shit hill. So let me assume that if I continue to work in this mode that is mine, this hill will eventually stop being made of shit and will grow, and from it, I'll eventually be able to see and encompass in my work the whole world. What I always say and what I always try to remind myself is that the art I make right now is gonna be bad, it's not gonna be the best, but it will get me to there. Consistency will get me to there. Setting a routine in my art, just continuing to make the art that I wanna make will get me to the point, and eventually, yeah, my shit hill will grow. If you're a young artist or you're just starting out your art career, or you could even be a professional and still feel like that. One hobby I started in June was pole dancing, and I've been going to classes consistently twice a week since then. I love the studio I go to. It's such an inclusive and positive environment. I feel like my self-confidence has increased, and moving my body has had a positive impact on my overall well-being, and I feel very strong and I feel very sexy. And it uses my creativity while being a completely different medium than what I do for work. For my artist date, week 1, I went to an open pole class. It was really fun. We warmed up to Cotton Eye Joe. I firmly believe that you cannot be depressed when you are dancing to Cotton Eye Joe. You could quote me on that. Good morning. It is Monday, so we're starting week 2 now. I will admit I fell off on Friday because I had friends over all weekend. I was doing a lot of fun stuff. And in a way, like, that's very creatively fulfilling too. And then one day we went to this really cute town in New Jersey and we did like some shopping. There was this lovely shop and the owners were so sweet. My friend was wearing my scarf that I made last year and they were so sweet. They were obsessed with it and I love their store so much. And they basically just inspired me to like maybe make products again and open my shop. I don't know, that's been in my mind. Big ideas, just a lot of ideas like swirling through my head. But we also went to this one bookstore and I picked up these 2 children's books. And this book is just beautiful. Like, look at these pages. And then I saw this, Milo the Knight, and I thought this was so beautiful. as well. So it was a very inspiring weekend, and I feel like I'm coming into this week very refreshed and inspired. I cleaned my whole apartment yesterday. Like, it is a new week. Week 2 is all about recovering a sense of identity. It addresses how to draw new boundaries as your personal needs, desires, and interests announce themselves. I found the passage on crazy makers particularly interesting. She defined crazy makers as people who take over your life, distract you, cause drama, etc. Basically, people who will stunt your growth. Another thing I loved about this chapter was its emphasis on paying attention. The quality of life is in proportion always to the capacity for delight. The capacity for delight is the gift of paying attention. I found myself at the Philadelphia Public Library this week for my artist date. I got a library card. Throughout this, I've been reading a book on how to write picture books, and I wanted to check out some children's books at the library. As I walked around Philly, I tried paying attention to all the little things around me. And at the end of the week on Friday, I sent an idea and wrote up a rough first draft for a picture book. Eek. I'm very, very proud of myself. Currently, I'm in the middle of week 3, so I've already made it further than I have the first time I've done this. Having this video diary is actually helpful in keeping me accountable. Also try to have fun with it and experiment with a new video style, so I hope that is resonating with you all. I'm gonna keep vlogging this journey, and I hope you enjoy it and decide to follow along with me, maybe even start the artist way on your own so we could do it together. And so far, I usually hit all my morning pages on the weekdays, maybe like 4 out of 5 weekdays. On the weekends, I kind of fall off. So oopsies. But I do all the tasks. I have been doing my artist dates. I have been going on my walks, and so far, it's been really, really helpful. I think I have been noticing small changes where I've been seeing my mind shift ever so slightly, so I am more motivated to make those small changes. I feel like I'm starting to uncover little things about myself as well. And yeah, like I said, currently, as I'm filming this, I'm in the middle of week 3. You will have to stay tuned to see what the rest of the weeks have in store. And with that, I will see you in the next video. Bye.